It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. Welcome to Falcon Focus, our first edition here in the 2023-24 school year. We are sponsored this season by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. My name is Matt Menzel. On this edition, we'll be joined in segment number 2 with a freshman from women's cross country. They're off to a great start with back-to-back event victories. Emma Orange will join us, but first we'll talk women's volleyball with the brand new head coach of the Falcon women's volleyball team, that being Carly Whaling. And just some housekeeping notes that for Falcon Focus here in 2023-24. We'll be back with you for most Tuesdays. We're scheduled to join you for 10 Tuesdays in the first semester and again for 10 more in semester number 2. But, Coach, thanks a lot for your time and an exciting time with volleyball season upon us. And for you, you were hired back in late February. Take us through the last 6 or 7 months and how you approach those months in preparation for this first season.
Yeah, I think spring was just getting acclimated to a new place, learning new things, getting to know the girls and their personalities and what we have skill set wise and building upon that. We had a good spring season where we got a lot of time individually, so that was exciting. They get to go home for the summer and enjoy that. So, send them home with workouts, that sort of thing, staying on top of it, and, us recruiting and all that good stuff that goes into it. But, I was definitely excited to get back here this fall and get after a little bit.
So when you walk into a new coaching situation, what do you find to be the most challenging aspect of a brand new position?
I think just learning the team dynamic, where that is and how your coaching style fits into that and what we're going to take along and what we're going to kind of leave behind a little bit. So kind of analyzing those things as much as possible, quickly as you can, and then just kind of setting the standard for what you want the program to be moving forward. So getting everybody to buy into that is probably the most challenging, but obviously part of it. And this group is great. They bought in right away, so they made it pretty easy on me.
And speaking of challenging, what a challenging slate to start this 2023 season. They began a couple of weeks back. You guys were in St. Paul, Minnesota, and taking on the likes of Co, Bethel, and then Northwestern out of St. Paul. Your takeaways from that first tournament?
Yeah, I was actually really happy with our first tournament. Obviously, you want to walk away with a couple more wins than that, but we were a little out of sorts. Our first match, I think we were asking people to do new things. Really, our libero position is the only thing that we returned from last year.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of returning players, right, but we're asking them to do a little bit more, take on a little bit more. So just having that new environment and kind of acclimating to that was kind of expected. Our first one not to go as smoothly as we would have hoped, right? And then Saturday, I think we battled really well. We got everybody back. We were missing Macy on Friday, got her back on Saturday, so we were gelling a little bit better. Played good against Bethel, obviously got that one, and then Northwestern. We were right with them the entire time. Just too many errors on our side. We could have had a set there, but exciting things happening for us to battle with that team right there. Yeah.
You guys got the opportunity to play here inside the John Book Fieldhouse. A nice atmosphere against Carthage this past Wednesday. A tough 5-set loss, battled back from a 1-set deficit, a 2-1 deficit, and just could not get over that hump in that 5th set. In your opinion, what was the difference on Wednesday against the Firebirds?
I think just our errors, and we're still working through some of that and finding consistency in the lineup, which is just going to take some time, I think, with people adjusting, getting playing time, kind of proving themselves a little bit here and there. But, yeah, I think most of the time we just got to control our side of the net, control what we can control, and be more consistent across the board. And that'll work itself out here in the next couple of weeks, which we've been working on practice and putting ourselves in similar situations. So I like our fight. I like our battle, and we'll get on the right side of it eventually.
And then back on the road this past weekend in Bloomington, Illinois, and again, battled some more great competition with a win against Illinois Wesleyan. That was on Saturday, and played some other great competitors, including UW Stevens Point. What did you see from your team this weekend?
A little of a tussle there on Friday, a rough start for us, but I think that led to a great conversation after the game and helped us bounce back on Saturday. So a step in the right direction. Sometimes it's nicer to go through those things early than later. So a little refocus there Friday night after the match, and then Saturday we played well. Again, just obviously bringing the win against Illinois Wesleyan was good, but then the afternoon match, I felt like we could have pushed it to 5. But again, just controlling our own errors. I think that's our Achilles heel right now, which as we watch film and learn and grow about shots and those sorts of things, it'll get better here. But again, new people playing, learning this placement. We've got new setters. It's kind of, trying to find that gelling spot right now, which is part of it. You work through that the first month or so of season and kind of, iron things out and get rolling.
So overall, take the errors out of the equation, and maybe it's baby steps here and there, but do you like the progress you're seeing from this team one weekend to the next?
Yeah, like I said, I think we are continuing to take steps in the right direction. Always as a coach, you wish that would happen faster, but no, I think we're making progress. And like I said, I think once we figure it out, we'll be a force to reckon with. I've seen our little spurts here and there, so that's nice. But again, we just got to control what we can control, and limit the error size. Serving wise, that hasn't been great, so that's going to focus for us in practice as well. So I think if we can eliminate a little bit of the serving errors, especially the momentum killers, and hitting errors as well, we'll make a little bit closer run to some of those sets too.
And you guys have been road warriors here in the first few weeks, and that continues here this week with a matchup tonight at Rockford. We'll be back on the road here this weekend. Has that helped with chemistry and just, getting to, learn one another, get to know one another? You got to know the players better, they get to know you better. Has that helped, being on the road these first few weeks?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's always fun, get in the hotel and they can have their little bonding moments and those sorts of things. And then us as coaches, they're in class otherwise, so, getting to be on the bus and hang out with them and, yeah, it's fun to be around them. They're a good group to be around and enjoy that time for sure. So
if you had to point at one area through the first now 7 matches, what do you see as being the strength right now of this team? What are you trying to build around?
Right now, I think just our experience where we have it is what we're trying to build around, getting our juniors and seniors the ball in certain situations. We've got, our libero back, so that's been great. Our defense has been something that we can rely on. So building off of those things, turning defense into offense and making good choices as setters. And I think that's something we'll build on here in a couple weeks of watching film a little bit more and kind of analyzing things just to build that toolbox of our sport intelligence. I think our court awareness sometimes kind of lacks just from lack of experience. So that's something we're going to work here in the next couple weeks of building that court awareness and kind of understanding the game a little bit more. But yeah, I think our defense is doing a great job. Our serve receive has been solid. That was something that we focused a lot on in the first couple of weeks, so that was nice to see that translate. And the offense will come here.
You have sophomore Mackenzie Benter back, but a much bigger role here this year, and she's shown the ability to make an impact in a variety of ways, whether it be kills, assists, defensively, beyond the service line. What do you see her role on this team being?
It's still transforming. And she's been battling a little bit of injury here, so it'll be nice to get her back healthy and her at 100%. But yeah, she's definitely going to play a big role for us. I think eventually we want her to be able to swing and set for us. Swinging has kind of been off the table with her injury that she's been battling. So just learning and growing. I think she swung for us last year and did a great job, and I think setting is just another cue. It's great to have her as an offensive weapon up there in the front row. That's a good tool for us too. So just continuing to build off that and help her get comfortable along the way. And I think that's more part of it, of her just kind of getting comfortable in her new role here. But yeah, definitely excited about Kenzie as she progresses here.
Yeah, she had a triple-double against Bethel, which included 10 kills, 19 assists, 10 digs. How about junior Lauren Schroba? She's back. So far has had double figures in kills twice, double figures in digs 4 times, a double-double here against Carthage last week. She has the ability to take over matches, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah. She played great at that Carthage match. And I told her afterwards, I was like, that's awesome, especially after she was a little on the fence about me pushing her to the outside role a little bit. But, again, Lauren's great. Anything I ask her to do, she's going to do it and try hard. So, no, it was nice to see her kind of settle into that role. She didn't play 6 rotations last year, so that's a little bit new for her. But she's been solid in serve receive for us. We'd like to see, again, everybody, but a little bit more offensively, getting comfortable out there on the outside pin. We moved her back to the right side this weekend, and she did well too. But she's going to be a tool for us. She's going to be a leader for us out there as well. So excited to see how she goes too.
You talked about the passing game when you look at the setting role and taking over now. Izzy Sternick, one of the main setters. What have you seen from her development?
Yeah, I think just her movement of the ball has been a lot better. We talked a lot about that this spring, about, a little faster tempo and transitioning the flow of the game, and she's been implementing that. I've seen her try to do that in matches, so that's good. Again, just finding consistency of where we're placing sets and that sort of thing. But no, I think she's going to be inaugural part of our team as well, if we can get her going, and then we can have Kenzie swing in too. So there's lots of options to just kind of figure out what's going to work best for us and find that consistency like I've been talking about.
And, of course, we know from watching over the last years the play of Macy Carfinger, the accolades have come as well. What are your impressions of watching Macy?
Macy's just a baller, right? And I've been throwing her all over the place, again, trying to figure out where we could place her and be the best. I think we're going to leave her in the middle now. And she's going to be a 6-rotation middle for us is what she did this weekend. So her passing, you just got to have it, and she's on with that most of the time, and that's something that we can rely on. So she's going to play 6 rotations for us as well. Connections with setters, we're working on that because she's been bounced from the pin in the middle. So once we get that down, she'll be her normal force in the middle. I take that on me. I've been kind of throwing her around a little bit, throwing her for a loop, but she's adjusted well and has been working hard for us.
And you mentioned, when you look at this roster, yes, there's a lot of familiar names back, but much bigger roles, expanded roles now here in 2023, here in non-conference. Do you have a pretty good sense of what every player's role may be? Is that an ongoing process to figure out the lineup, the right rotation, or again, at 7 matches in, do you have a pretty good sense?
I feel like I have a pretty good sense. And then, as a coach, there's always things you want to happen, and then there's things that happen, and people surprise you too, and that's great. In practice, we're battling in practice, and hopefully getting more people more reps too, but that's something they have to earn. So yeah, we've got a pretty good idea of how things are going to roll, how we want them to roll. But again, at the end of the day, it's got to be who's performing, and we want to put ourselves in the best position possible too. So it's always an ongoing thing. We're going to have, people that are on playing in any night, any given player, whoever that may be. But obviously always as a coach too, you want to find that consistency and something that you can rely on. So I think we've got a pretty good lineup hashed out over the weekend that I'm comfortable with, and we'll roll with that tonight.
And conference play tonight against Rockford. Falcons coming off a year in which they finished tied for first with Aurora during the regular season. This is your first go-around in the NAC. What are you anticipating as far as conference volleyball goes?
I don't know. I rely on my assistants a lot for that. I just want us to go in with the mindset that we can win every match, and our goal is to dominate every match too. We want to go in and perform well and not walk away from that of, this could have been better. Just striving. A lot of what we're focusing on right now is our side of the court. We've got to take care of our controllables, and I think that'll help us get some confidence going and building, and then we'll be able to battle those tougher teams a little bit closer in some certain situations. So, going in with a mindset of, you got to win, right? You want to win. You got to win. You only get to see everybody once in this conference, so that's a little bit different than what I've seen before. So every game is super important, right? You don't get it back. So just making sure we go in with a focused mindset and control what we can control for sure.
And the players know, again, every matchup you're going to get somebody's best. They want to beat the Falcons. They want to beat Aurora. Those are the teams that everybody's looking up at and has over the last number of years. So certainly the bullseye, the target is on the Falcons. Starts tonight against Rockford. But getting to know you a little bit better as far as volleyball goes. How long has volleyball been a part of your life?
5th grade.
5th grade.
So, 20 years now. I'm getting up there in age, so yeah.
What got you started with the sport?
It was offered at our school. I went to a small Lutheran school growing up, and in 5th grade, they had 5th and 6th grade teams. So we were small, so we didn't have a 5th and 6th grade team my first year. We had a 7th and 8th grade team, so getting to play up with those girls was fun, and a lot of them had played club, and it was way different back then, right, of the club scene today. But they had some experience, it's parents coaching teams, it was almost like a rec league, but, I learned some valuable skills that kind of helped me through the way. But, yeah.
Collegiately, you played at Indian Hills Community College and West Alabama. What are some of the highlights from your playing days? Well, my senior year, getting to Sept, that was brand new and exciting, and I loved it and kind of wish I had done it the entire time. But what were you prior to that?
An outside hitter.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one of those things where everybody messes around practice. Oh, coach, I want to set. And it just kind of ended up working out with people that we recruited in and transferred out and sort of thing, and ended up setting, and I loved it, and it was great. So that was always a fun memory. I think just the people that you meet along the way. I'm friends with a lot of them, the girls still today. Indian Hills definitely changed me as a player. More on the mental side of it and being a leader. I think our coach there did a great job of mentoring me through that. So, and he was funny. I remember after my freshman year, I didn't play I didn't have a good season, and he was like, I just expected a lot more of you. And I was like, you're right, me too. And then that sophomore year was a lot better. So I just always appreciate that open communication from coaches, and learned a lot along the way.
How did you get involved in coaching? Did you always know you wanted to go the coaching route after your playing days?
No, it was kind of something that fell in my lap. Always loved sports, always loved being around the game. I had the opportunity, once I was finishing up my undergrad, I had the opportunity to coach a high school team that was local, and just kind of fell in love with it there. And then, did the grad assistant job and just kind of followed my path along there. But something that grew on me, and I couldn't imagine myself doing anything else. So here I am.
and you've been a head coach at your alma mater, Indian Hills Community College, at UNC Pembroke. How do you feel like through those positions now here at Concordia? How have you grown as a coach?
Yeah, I think just learning from the head coaches above me, my former teammate at Montana State, learning from her and how she did things. And then Lindsay at Indian Hills, she was my coach too when I played there. So I have a long history with her. But I think she definitely instilled the fun back in the game. Like, you have to work hard, but you've got to have fun too. And kind of, I don't know, I just like the way she coaches. It's just fun and exciting and intense. And obviously she's done a great job with that program, but I learned a lot from her there, and then being able to transfer that into my own program at Pembroke.
And speaking of Pembroke, to wrap it up, so great season last year, getting to the NCAA tournament first time in that program, 50-year history, just about.
Yeah.
So you go from that to here. What made this position, when it opened up, attractive to you?
Just family. North Carolina's not a short drive.
Not at all.
So that was our main driving force, is to get back here, having the twins around their family, my kids, have them around family, being able to, holidays and those sorts of things. In Concordia, their great history of volleyball and being successful, and just being able to kind of jump in that and be grateful for that, and not having to super rebuild the program, and, talking with Dr. Barnhill too. So, I think it was just right timing. It ended up working out, and I'm super grateful for us to, be able to go home for the summer and make those trips, and, have that bond too.
And now the next step in the Coach Whaling era, conference play starting tonight at Rockford. You can check out CUWFalcons.com for the information on coverage for that matchup. And then off to Eau Claire on Saturday before finally back here on September 20th. That's a week from tomorrow against Lakeland. The Muskies and the Falcons at 7 next Wednesday, September 20th. Coach, thanks a lot for your time. All the best this week. We'll see you next week.
All right, sounds good.
That's Carly Whaling. And when we come back, our focus shifting to cross country here on Falcon Focus. Welcome back to our maiden voyage of Falcon Focus for the 2023-24 school year. Great to be back. Great for another school year to be upon us. And again, we are sponsored by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. Our first of 20 episodes throughout the course of the year. We'll have 10 per semester. Most Tuesdays, check out CUWFalcons.com week by week as we bring you more coverage of Falcon athletics. Now here in segment number 2, our focus goes to cross country, and we will shift our focus with Emma Arons, a freshman on the women's cross country team, off to a great start, coming off back-to-back winning events as a team. And Emma, thanks for your time. You're from Stevens City, Virginia.
Yes.
Tell us about your hometown.
Well, it's a small town in northern Virginia. We're about an hour outside of D.C., right in the heart of the Shenandoah Valley. So many mountains, which is really nice.
So I'm guessing you probably get this a lot, but so how do you go from Virginia to Concordia?
Yes, well, my family's originally from Wisconsin here,
Okay.
So I always knew I wanted to come back and to a smaller school with a faith community.
Now, have you always been in Virginia?
For most of my life, yes. We moved out there when I was 3.
Okay, where were you before that?
here in Hortonville, Wisconsin.
Okay. So you could have been a polar bear up at Hortonville High
Yeah.
School. So you came to Concordia. Is there anything about this campus that really attracted you? Is there something that stood out that said, hey, that's the school for me?
Just when I toured the community here that I saw is something that I didn't see at any other college that I visited. So that's something I really wanted to be a part of.
Now, it's only been a couple of weeks for the school year so far, but how are you enjoying your time at Concordia?
I really love it here. I know it's where I'm meant to be.
And you graduated top 10 in your high school class. Is that a smooth transition as an adjustment to go from the workload at the high school level to now all that's asked of you here at the college level?
Yeah, it's been pretty easy so far. I mean, my high school is about the same size as Concordia, so it's comparable with classes and the difficulty level.
And, of course, juggling the academic side with the cross-country side. Let's talk about sport for a second. Growing up, did you play a lot of sports?
I did.
What sports did you play?
Well, I tried everything when I was younger in elementary school, like basketball, baseball. And then once I got into middle school, I really started to focus on just running, cross-country, and track. And then high school, I only did cross-country and track.
And from a running standpoint, when did you realize, and you talked about the year after year when you did this and that, but when did you realize that, hey, I really enjoy running, that whole running aspect?
Well, my mom put me in a running club when I was in second grade. So that was something we always did together, and that was really enjoyable. And I was like, well, since middle school doesn't have a soccer team, I was like, I'm going to try cross country. And then I really just fell in love with it there.
So right from then, so soccer would have been your alternative had you gotten the opportunity.
Right.
Okay, so cross country, track. In high school, you had a great deal of success in both of those sports. When you look back at your prep days, when you look at your accomplishments, what are you most proud of?
Probably just the state qualifications and being able to run at those big meets later in the season.
And you're part of a lot of long-distance events. Has that always been your focus? Do you like running long distances?
Yeah, I really enjoy the longer events. The 2 mile, especially in high school, has always been my favorite.
So what is it about the long distances that you enjoy?
I don't think I have much speed, so when I have those longer distances, there's definitely more of an endurance aspect that I feel that I'm stronger in.
And we'll talk more about just your approach as we go along, but so you started your Concordia cross-country career on September 2nd. That was the first event meet that the Falcons participated in. That was the Tom Barry invite, hosted by St. Norbert. Were you nervous for that first competition?
A little bit. I don't get too nervous for races, but I wasn't really sure what to expect being my first collegiate race and what the competition would be like in the course conditions.
Yeah, you talk about going into that, preparing. How do you prepare for a meet typically?
I don't really have any special tricks that I do. Mostly just spend time with the team warming up and just do our usual routines of stretches.
So you have nothing special routine-wise prior to?
Nope, I always
just go out there and run?
Yep, eat breakfast at the same time every day. And
the best part is on September 2nd, the Falcons took the team title in Green Bay, and a couple of runners finishing in the top 5. You led the way with a 4th place finish with a time of 19 minutes, 14.46 seconds. What worked for you that day, in your opinion?
Well, I always start off my races a little slower, so that first mile I held back a little bit, and then once I saw that I could gain some separation from the back groups, I started to move up through the second mile and hook on to the top 3.
Were you happy with your performance?
I was happy to start off with a time that fast.
Yeah, just over 19 minutes, and it was extremely hot up in Green Bay. Did that come into play at all, the weather?
Not as much because that weather was similar to what we would run in Virginia.
I was going to say, yeah, I would imagine so. And for here, it was a heat index close to triple digits. For you, when it comes to weather, is there a certain, temperature conditions that you prefer?
Well, upper 50s and 60s is always super nice, but the hotter days just don't bother me as much either. So
you're loving it outside right now. This is perfect for you.
It's great running weather.
And for the Falcons, so you go from competing and winning up in Green Bay, Weather was much cooler this past Saturday, competing at home, the Ken White Classic. And for the Falcons, again, the team taking the title the first time they've hosted the event and would go on to win it since 2016. That's also the last time the Falcons won back-to-back events. You finished first with a time of 22 minutes, 49.7 seconds. How exciting for you was Saturday?
It was really great. It was my first 6K that I'd done, so I didn't know what to expect at all about that extra kilometer distance. So it was just a really special moment. My mom was able to come visit and watch my race, so it was fun.
Was there a comfort just being able to run here on campus, kind of knowing, the conditions, or at least knowing your environment?
Yeah, you really get used to what the course is and you know what to expect. There's nothing like coming out of nowhere for you.
Yeah. And for the cross-country team, you look at least on the women's side, the breakdown, the roster consists of 11 freshmen. You're one of them, 5 sophomores, 3 juniors, 4 seniors. Tell us about this team. How much fun is it to be a part of this group? How close is this team?
It's great. They're really close. We have a lot of strong community on the team. The camaraderie between the girls is something that I just didn't have in my high school teams. So it's definitely a different culture out here in the Midwest that I really love.
Yeah, well, you look at this team makeup, and it obviously probably helps having 10 other freshmen on the team with you, but has it been, we talk about transitioning from, the academic side, from an athletic standpoint, from day one, has it been one of those where it's been pretty smooth just based on the welcoming of your teammates?
Yeah, it has been really smooth. The upperclassmen are great. They're always helping us if we need to find a class or have questions, so it's really nice.
Take us through a typical practice. So you guys run almost on a daily basis. What does practice consist of? Is it just simply running? Is there more to it?
It depends on the day. Some days we just have runs. Some days our workouts on the track. We always start out with our team prayer, and then we head out and run whatever mileage or workout our coach has given us for the day. And then some days we're in the weight room lifting afterwards, and then some days are core.
How about for you when it's, maybe not cross-country season, maybe it's not track season either, so essentially summertime, are you constantly running? Do you have a training program, or do you take time off?
I usually like to take a week off in between seasons, but summer we do have summer mileage from coach that he sends us, and then weight room workouts.
So how about for you, mileage-wise? What was the expected goal?
So I had about 50 miles a week every week, and that's still what I'm doing. And then it might increase between seasons, but it stays around 40 to 50 miles a week.
Wow. Obviously, I hear that, and I sit here and I'm tired just hearing 40 to 50 miles. Not a runner like you, but for you, is that easy to accomplish? Is that something that's it becomes so routine that you don't even think twice about it?
It's definitely a little bit of an increase from the high school mileage, but I've gotten used to it now after so many weeks during this summer.
So when you're running, what's your mindset? How do you keep yourself, focused? How do you keep pushing yourself? Because again, for maybe the average runner, or not even for some of us that are not, athletic, I mean that just seems like a lot of work for nothing. But obviously you push yourself through and it pays off.
Yeah, we are always running together as a team, so that's a lot of fun just to talk about what our day was like and just keep good conversation. And then over the summer, I had a really great training partner, so it was always just a lot of fun to just go on a run and hang out.
And you talked about your approach, so you half started slow and then you work your way. Has it always been your approach, or is that something you've learned over time?
Definitely, I learned it in high school, just to not go out too fast and waste all your energy in the first couple laps or the first mile. So it's something that I've worked on more for better splits in my race and to conserve more energy for the end.
From a course standpoint, when you look at the different courses, obviously these are all new for you outside of being here at Concordia. Does that come into play at all? Do you have to do any prep when you get there? How do you go about just, trying to get yourself acclimated with the course?
We usually do our warm-ups on the course just to kind of get an idea of what's happening, but otherwise I just hope for the best and see if anyone else really knows what the course is like, and then try to come up with a game plan from there.
Are there certain types of terrain or courses that you enjoy more versus others, or you find more challenging?
Well, hilly courses are always more challenging, but I feel like I have the endurance to be able to really do well on those types of courses.
And you guys will get an opportunity to compete at one of the more gorgeous courses around, that at UW Parkside, coming up on September the 23rd. How about for this season? And maybe you've settled, maybe you haven't. But do you have goals for yourself or the team, or did you just kind of go in going, hey, whatever happens, happens? It's kind of a learning experience.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what to expect, but with the strength of our team, I think we can place really well at some of these upcoming meets, and I'm hoping to have a pretty good time and placing at the regional meet.
Do you have a certain time that you'd like to hit?
Well, I came into the season just wanting to get under 24 minutes, so it was kind of a shock, the first 6K running in 22 minutes. So I'm just going to try and keep working that time down.
I was going to say, you've already set the bar awfully high through a couple of weekends of competition. After cross-country, the track and field season, indoor and then outdoor, are you going to be competing in track as well?
Yes, I will be.
So from a college standpoint, do you get time off there, or does it go right from cross-country to track?
I'm going to try and get a couple days off, but I think the seasons are going to overlap a good amount.
Are there certain events that you want to participate in that you know already that, hey, that's for me?
Yeah, I really want to do the 5K for track, and then I'll try the 10K, and we'll see how it goes.
I still am blown away by just the mileage and just the distances that you run. Someday down the road, would you like to run a marathon? Is that something that would suit you well, or you just want to keep with cross-country track and go from there?
I think after I graduate and I'm out of collegiate racing, I'd love to do a marathon. I've done a couple half marathons in high school, and those were really fun. So I think a marathon would be a great time.
What goes into training for a half marathon?
Mostly just same training during the week, and then weekends you just do a long run, maybe 10 miles, and then it just comes pretty easily after running for so many weeks.
So in a when you look at your background in one day, maybe what's the most mileage you've run?
Definitely a high school long run was 14 miles.
Jeez, all in one day?
Yep. It's our longest run of the season, so we just go out and have a good time and see what we can do.
So how do you feel after those 14 miles?
Very hungry.
Do you want to run anymore after that for a while, or are you ready to go back the next day?
We always take an off day the next day, and a lot of training that doesn't involve running, maybe swimming and biking just to recover from that long run, but otherwise it doesn't hurt too bad as long as you stretch.
Yeah, let's go into that a little bit more. What is key for you? And just you mentioned the swimming or biking, the recovery process. What's critical for you to get yourself back to 100%?
For me, it's definitely stretching and foam rolling. I always try and make sure I get a good night's rest and rehydrate and eat well. And then between seasons, when I have that week off, I like to be out walking and swimming just to kind of keep my fitness up.
Now, back into the classroom here to wrap things up. In the classroom, what is your major here at Concordia?
Horticulture.
And what do you hope to do with that one day?
I'm really hoping to go into agriculture science, maybe one of the bigger agriculture businesses to deal with crops and other plants.
Where did that interest come from?
I don't know. I think my dad is from a big farm in Iowa, and so just growing up being on that farm, I just really enjoyed the environment there.
Well, as mentioned, the cross-country team will next be in action coming up on September 23rd at UW Parkside. We'll be in Eau Claire on the 29th of September. Before you know it, the NAC Championships will be on the docket. That comes up next month, so you can check out CUWFalcons.com for more information on the cross-country teams. But Emma, it was great to meet you. Congrats on all your success so far and all the best the rest of your freshman year.
Thank you for having me.
That's Emma Arns, a freshman from Virginia, back here in Wisconsin competing for the cross-country team. We also thank Carly Whaling, the first-year Falcon women's volleyball head coach, for her time as they prepare for their conference opener tonight against Rockford. And we thank you for watching our first edition of Falcon Focus for the 2023-24 school year. We'll do it again next Tuesday, and we're sponsored by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin.